So how do you handle a reluctant team? John Cottrell here, Enterprise Transformation and Change. This came up with a client the other day. That person's not technically proficient in the area that they're managing, and I don't yet think they've earned the respect of the team. So how do we help them on their way to install a bit of discipline and get the performance pepped up a bit without appearing to be critical and cracking the whip too much? And this is something I first did with the team probably 20 years ago, but it's surprisingly simple. So the question therefore remains, well, what is it? What is it? It's two things actually. One is as popularised by Verne Harnish, the author of Scaling Up and the Rockefeller Habits. And I don't know where he picked it up from, but we used to do this back in the days of British manufacturing back in the mid-80s. And Verne calls it the daily huddle, or in the factories it used to be the start of shift meeting. And the meeting was never, sat down with coffee cups and stuff like that. It was always standing up, and it was always done around the performance board, around what the KPIs were showing. And there's a number of businesses we've installed that in over the past 10 years where we stand around the performance board so everybody knows exactly what's going on. So that's the first thing, and that huddle is really simple. 3 questions. Did you do everything that you committed to do yesterday? Simple yes or no. Second one, what have you got planned for today? Third one, do you think you're going to need any help with any of that, or can you manage? So simple 3 questions. If everybody's on a yes, it's a really short meeting. Mistake people often make is diving into the problems in the huddle. Don't do that. Take those problems offline. You'll dramatically shrink the size of your morning meeting, the length of time it takes, and then you can deal one-on-one with any of the people who've got an issue that they can't solve by themselves, or you can connect people that need to work together. So that's the first thing. Get the huddle sorted, and at the end of the day, what you're ending with is, how did your day go? And that gives you a chance to say, great job, well done, thank you, to all the members of your team before they go home. And when you first start that, they'll never have experienced that. So you might get a bit of rebellion. You might find they think, oh, it's not necessary and blah, blah, blah. But actually, what they'll be saying when they get home is, oh, I've never had a thank you before. And some of the cases I've spoken to employees who've worked in a business 30 to 40 years, their whole working life, and they've never once heard a thank you until we started this process. Which is a bit weird, right? But that's the nature of business sometimes. We don't think about the human side. So that's the first bit. The second bit really comes down to numbers. So most businesses these days are computerized. We don't have to write things down on scraps of paper. But the point is, if you can get the output from the computer that tells that person the number of transactions they've got to do that particular day. Sorry, we've got the sun getting in at the moment. Then it's much, much clearer to make a commitment to get those things done on time. In the office where I first did this, it was a shipping business. I was running about 50 million US a year revenue, so a reasonable sized business. And we had a shipping team that used to do the shipping documentation. We had a customer service team that used to book the customer orders, and we had a materials team that used to order what we needed based on what we'd sold. So all of those people were processing transactions. And what we needed to know was how many transactions did they need to process that particular day. And if they weren't able to process them, why was it? What was getting in the way? And very often in the early days, it was phone calls from our internal people, salespeople, where's this order? Why is this customer upset? And all these things. And all these interruptions were pushing back the transactions. The transactions didn't get made. The computer did its overnight run. I mean, they're real time these days. So then the next day, all the data was inaccurate. So what we did is we measured the transactions, we measured the interruptions. And what was interesting is the team really didn't want to do the measurement. They really kicked off. And I said to them, look, I understand that you don't want to do this. It's extra work. But let's do it for a 2-week trial. At the end of the 2 weeks, we'll review. If you're right and I'm wrong, we'll bin it and you'll never hear of it again. but if I'm right and it works, actually we'll solve a lot of problems. And anyway, I think it was halfway through day one of the team came to me and she said, "You just put in the daily work first, haven't you? That's all this is." And I said to her, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, we get all these interruptions and we never end up getting our jobs done. And what you've done is you've made getting our jobs done, you've put that first." I didn't mean to, but okay. And she said, "Yeah, so now," I said, "Well, how are you going to handle the interruptions?" "Oh, we'll do those later." So they told the salespeople they couldn't call them until the day had ended. They got the transactions done around about 3 o'clock. And at that point, everything started to run smoothly. So we upped our delivery performance in that business from somewhere below 60% to somewhere over 90% in a very short space of time, because we started to correct our data. Now in this client's business, they just think everything's going a bit slowly. So it's about establishing a drumbeat of productivity in your business, so stuff's getting done. And the point is, if operations is taking too long, you can't do any development. So you can't actually improve. You can't actually go out there and get new business if you're wrapped up trying to get the team to perform. So just take those two lessons. The daily huddle and establishing the drumbeat with the productivity numbers and the KPIs. And if you need a hand trying to figure some of that stuff out, just PM me. No confessions required on LinkedIn. Just PM me and I'll do my best to help you out. Okay, that's all for now. I'm going to be back off walking the dog who's down there. He's waiting for me. I'll see you sometime soon. Bye for now.